All right, we're going to quickly walk through the publisher dashboard and setting up a survey wall link integration. So I've already got my dashboard pulled up here. And if you don't have a login yet, you can go to publisher.inbrain.ai, sign up for an account, and log in. This is what you'll see when you first log into the publisher dashboard. Everything will pretty much be empty and numbers zeroed out. First thing you want to do is add a new app. Now, if you want to add the survey wall link integration, you can head over to Supplier API. The survey wall link integration is found under our Supplier API integration type. So you'll want to select that and then select web app. You could use the survey wall link product in an iOS or Android app. If you're interested in doing that, probably best to speak with us about your implementation scenario. We can kind of talk through the nuances there and things to look out for. But for real straightforward integration, just select web app. You want to enter your project name. This is just for your purposes in organizing things on the dashboard. So we're just going to put in test project. Next, and then go to app settings. All right, first thing you're going to want to do, the first thing you're going to want to do is add your currency name and currency amount. A couple things I'll mention. This must be a whole number. It cannot be a fraction. So if you're interested in doing something like dollars and you want to do like 50 cents, so basically half a dollar for every $1 in revenue you earn, that's basically what you want to give your users. We actually don't support fractional values right now. We're going to put in some validation where it'll require a whole number, but for now you could put in a fraction, but it's not going to work. So in this case, what you'd want to do is just convert this to cents. So you can just put cents and then obviously 50. So with this setup, you basically want to reward your users 50 cents for every $1 in revenue that you're paid by inBrain for survey completions. And we have a breakdown here. In our case, we're just going to go with points. We're just going to say 100 points is what we're going to give our users for every $1 in revenue that they earn us through survey completions. You'll want to save this. Next thing is setting up your server callbacks. So you'll need server callbacks for our system at inBrain to communicate with your server. So when a survey is completed or a user's been disqualified or they've terminated a survey, we'll send events to your survey that indicate the reward that they earned and the revenue amount that you earned, as well as additional information about that particular event. So you go over here to server callbacks. If you don't have your server callbacks set up and you want to test these out, you can actually check out webhook.site. It's a free site to just generate random webhooks. So you can just copy this right here, and we'll jump back over and just paste those in. They can actually be the same thing, the same URLs for success and failure. They could be different just depending on how you want to set things up. You want to click save and then note this shared secret key. You're going to need this later in the process of setting up your URL, your survey wall link, prior to the user clicking on it and going to the inBrain experience. So we're going to copy this out and save it real quick. I'm just saving this in Notepad. All right, next thing you'll want to do is you can actually test this. So if I want to test survey completion succeeded and see what actually my server is going to receive, just click test postback. Callback succeeded, and then just look over here. You can see our callback URL was called, and here's the raw content right here. I want to point you over to documentation real quickly. If you go to docs.inbrain.ai, we have all of our documentation here, as well as documentation specific to the survey wall link. So if you click that, go to specifications, there's more details on these server-to-server callbacks and exactly what you're receiving in that body of the callback. So read through that, let us know if you have any questions. The next thing you'll want to do is set up a test user. This is really the only way to test the flow of things. It's really difficult to test in a development environment with live surveys. You'll notice right now you haven't gone live, or we haven't gone live with our particular project. Before you go live with your real users, you want to click this button to go live with your app. But during testing, you want to create a test user. So just click add test user. You want to add a label and value. So I'm just going to say my test user. And then the value, I'm just going to do, let's see, test user 001. Now, it's really important. I'm just going to add some extra numbers here. This is the value you're going to use. Once we get to that point in creating the exact link that the user is going to click on, this is the value you'll be using. So type user, make sure this is checked, submit. All right, so we've got that, and I'm going to note that test user 00109, this value right here, I'm just going to note that notepad because we're going to need it. All right, so let's go back to settings, and we can skip API keys, that is for our Supplier API. We can skip redirects, as that is only applied to our Supplier API. We can come back in a different video to placement filters. That's just an advanced capability that our native survey integrations and Supplier API has. It doesn't apply to the survey wall link. But right here, survey wall link is where you'll get the link you actually need for this particular product. So we do have a link to the documentation. It links to the documentation that I just pointed out. So right here, you can walk through the setup and integration guide as a companion to this video. But you'll need to click generate link. So we'll click that, and it gives you a link here. Now this is your base link that you'll use, and then you'll need to customize this link according to our documentation for every user that you want to click on this link. So prior to the user clicking on it, you'll need to basically add the unique user ID, and then you'll need to hash the URL and append that hash to the end, and then it's ready to go. So we'll cover that here in just a second. But I'm going to click copy to copy this link out and paste that in Notepad. All right, so we've got three things here. We've got our shared secret key, we've got our test user ID right here, and we have our survey wall link. And the first step prior to all that was making sure we have our currency name and currency amount set up. That's all you've got to do here in the publisher dashboard. The last thing you'll need to do before going live with your users is just click go live. So the next section, we will cover preparing the link for the user in a little bit more detail and walk through that in the documentation. So the next thing you're going to want to do to prepare this survey wall link is add a parameter app UID with the unique user ID. In our case, that test one we created. So you'll add this to the end of your URL, right? So you'll have that. And then you're going to take that entire URL, including this parameter, and you're going to hash the entire URL. That's this step right here. We're going to hash it according to this documentation, which we'll look at in 1 second. And then you're going to append to the URL from this step. You're going to append hash along with the hash that you calculated. Once that's done, you're ready for your user to click on the link. And that's all there is to it. We've already covered setting up a test user and then clicking go live. And that's it. So let's look at that real quickly, hashing the entire URL. You can go down here to the hash calculation. So we have a C# and Node.js snippet, but let me actually pull up a .NET Fiddle, and I can just demonstrate this real quickly. All right, I've got a .NET Fiddle pulled up here, and I want to demonstrate just the process of this hash signature using C#. We will add more languages here as demonstrations, but if you're in C# or Node, this should be pretty straightforward. So what you want to do is you want to take the link. I'm going to pull that from my notepad. And at the very end, obviously, we'll need to add this app UID. So we're going to do that real quick. And then we're going to add that test user. All right. So here's our test user. So that's the full link that we want to hash. And then we need to grab that shared secret key, place that in there. Then we're just going to run this and we will get this hash right here. So then what we can do is add this hash, the hash right there. And that is our full URL. So when a user clicks on it, when this particular user clicks on the link, this user right here, we should see right here the inBrain survey wall experience. And you're ready to go. This will walk them through a short profiler and display all the surveys available to that user. Let us know if you got any questions. Happy to help. Also, if you have any recommendations to improve our documentation, please let us know.